I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, for teaching this truth according to the Bible. Okay, so today's video is not going to be long at all, but the brother from Saints of Jersey posted this video yesterday. Okay, and he was actually reacting to what was going on the Redacted podcast, and apparently Donald Trump made certain insinuations about getting rid of the income tax. Okay, so if you know anything about working in America, all right, one thing that happens is when you get your check, there's going to be a certain amount taken out every single time you get paid, whether it be every week, every 2 weeks, every month, however you get paid, there's supposed to be a certain amount taken out, okay, for income tax, federal income tax. All right, there's other taxes, but this is the main one. Okay, and if this is true, this is a very big deal, because even Trump, in his little speech right here, he actually explains that the federal income tax was only supposed to be temporary. All right. It was instituted in 1913. And if you know anything about the year 1913, that's also the year that the Federal Reserve was established. OK, right before World War II. All right. So this is a big deal. And for people who have studied and kind of paid attention to government, we know that in the United States, technically, income tax is not constitutional, and it was actually supposed to be a temporary thing. But for whatever reason, like you'll hear, they kept it going, and they continue to steal, rob, and destroy people's lives. OK, and everybody that gets a check, right? Everybody that gets paid in the United States of America has been a victim of this satanic system. All right. And I got the scriptures to go with it. All right. And I'm going to play the video, but I'm going to read one first. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach 12:10, where it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth," okay, because iron, if you leave it out in the elements, or if moisture or any kind of dust, it's like, y'all, I'm dealing with an infirmity. So if you hear me pause, it's because I'm trying not to cough. But for as iron rusteth, and iron, is one of those metals that is guaranteed to rust. If you get moisture anywhere near that metal, it will rust. So what's being compared here is, it says, "For as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness." Okay. So Esau's wickedness is guaranteed. Okay. You got to keep an eye on these devils, man, whenever they say things like this and they do things, that may seem like they're helping the people. All right. Because if this is true and it actually happens, okay, it is actually going to help a lot of people. However, this devil doesn't let anybody have anything for free. All right. You honestly believe that the Edomites, the wicked elite, are going to allow you Jakes, all right, to run around here without paying them? All right. Every week or 2 weeks? Absolutely not. So, let's listen to this video, and then I'll get the other scriptures. Listen here.
We were warning you about this. This can't be real, but it is.
Is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887.
Yeah.
And this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee was set up 18.
So this era that he's talking about, in the 1800s, right? This was a time when the United States of America was actually very, very, very prosperous in bringing in products from all over the world. Okay, and it was known as, I believe Clayton says it, the Gilded Age, all right, of America, which there was another prosperous era in the 50s. Okay, but, ever since the Vietnam War, which the United States lost, by the way, the United States went to war with the Northern Vietnamese Communist Army. Okay, and today those people are still reigning and ruling in Vietnam. Okay, and the United States left. All right, that's a clear sign that you lost that war. And after Vietnam, what happened? All the soldiers that were doing drug trafficking and other types of substances that they got into over there in Vietnam made their way back to the United States. And in the 60s, okay, the 60s is really when the United States, it was that last era of prosperity. All right. In 1969, I would say, is the cutoff, because from that point on, you have a degradation or a drop off in the American society morally. There was drugs on the streets, and America just dropped off. And we're here today in 2025, and we're seeing the results of the Lord Yahweh absolutely putting plagues on the Babylon the Great. Okay, and it's wonderful to see. But let's continue this video.
1987, and what to do with all of the money that
The Gilded Age in America. The Gilded Age. He wants to return. He says this is the Golden Age. The Gilded Age, incredibly prosperous.
There was no income tax during that time. There was no income tax during that time. Okay, so people were keeping more of their money, okay, and it was staying inside of their households. You can't do that today, especially with the cost of things that are going up. Okay, there's no way that the United States of America will ever go back to that kind of economic success. All right, and this is what these people want. They think that Donald Trump is the man to bring back the Gilded Age, but he's not. Let's actually jump over. Let me get a verse. All right. Jeremiah 51:9. It says, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and it is lifted up even to the skies." Okay. And the wickedness and the witchcraft. Okay. The witchcraft that has plagued and has run this place has been so abundant and so demonic that the sins of Babylon the Great and the wicked elite, all right, they have reached all the way to the throne, okay, of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, and he sees it, which is why it's going to be such a violent and devastating end to this place. All right, now let's go back.
we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but
The Panama
he was given
Canal.
a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. As we had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913.
Yeah.
As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens,
There he said income tax came in 1913. Okay, so what does he plan to do? He's going to tell you that instead of taxing our citizens, okay, the United States taxing its citizens, right? They're gonna tariff other countries to make the citizens rich. All right.
to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah. So, eliminating income taxes in the United States. Eliminating income taxes in the United States and putting...
This devil is up to something. Okay. This is not This is not something that you just come out and say like that. All right. I believe he was told to say this, by his handlers. All right. And we'll see whether it remains to be seen. But if this is true, it is a very big deal. All right. A lot of people are held back by this so-called income tax, which is illegal. And it has always been illegal. It was supposed to fund the World War. OK, it was supposed to fund the war. And that war has long since been over, but they're still taxing the people. And people just think it's normal. This is how it is. All right. So
tariffs on other nations. Going back to a time when we didn't have income tax in the U.S. It's first of all, income taxes are unconstitutional. They were meant to.
Income taxes are unconstitutional. Let's get a verse. All right. James 5:4. It says, behold, the hire of the laborers. OK, the people who work. All right. In this country. Right. Akim, our brothers, we work. We have jobs. All right. We got to wake up in the morning. All right. And we got to drag ourselves out of bed to go to a job we hate. Our bodies are broken down. We're sick. We go through infirmities, plagued by demons all day. All right. We get to a job that we know we don't want to be in. We know that we're nothing but bondmen. OK, slaves, wage slaves. All right. And this verse explains what they were doing. OK, it says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. So the people that work in the fields, which is of you kept back by fraud. And that is what the income tax is. It's fraud. It's literal theft. They're strong arming you. The IRS is an illegal organization. All right. It's unconstitutional. OK. Now it says kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped the entire, which are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. OK. So the Lord hears the cries and the sighs of the men that are down here and sick and tired of this place, man. This system, this beast system that we live inside is nothing but death. It takes and it takes and it takes, right, until you have nothing left to give. And then, right, it takes some more. And then when you die, it takes some more. OK, there's an inheritance tax for people who die. Right. You still got to pay taxes after you die. All right. Your children do. So this is what they're doing. They're keeping back the wages by fraud, which is the income tax. All right.
Pay for World War I. After World War I, they were supposed to disappear. It was a temporary thing. They weren't supposed to be here. And for whatever reason, they've just continued. It's never been codified in the U.S. Constitution. Look it up. In fact, I've interviewed a former IRS enforcement officer he now devotes his life to educating Americans that the income tax is illegal.
It's an illegal institution. OK, they're literally stealing from you. All right. They're taking money from your check every time you get paid. Right. To enrich themselves. All right.
That you shouldn't have to pay it, that there's no reason to pay it. And he worked for the IRS. He would go after tax cheats who weren't paying their income taxes. And
let's get another verse. Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. Okay, we know who got their riches by deceit and unrighteous dealings and injuries. Esau. He went throughout the entire world, conquering and colonizing, stealing land, taking people's resources, naming the lands after his own people, right? And declaring himself king over all. All right. And the Heavenly Father sees it and he's allowing him to do so. OK, until, right, the scriptures say he cannot pass the bounds that were set for him. OK, the number of his months are before him. All right. So Esau thinks that he's going to continue in his enterprise. But the Lord said he's going to come. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. Let's get that. First Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And I see something like this, when Trump is promising or insinuating that he may do away with federal income tax. All right. That's kind of him saying, peace and safety, prosperity, right? He's making promises. All right. It says, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, just like those birth pangs. All right. And they shall not escape. So when everybody's thinking that they're doing good and everybody's, feeling like, the United States is finally back, the Lord's going to come down with that hammer. All right. And if you listen to Elder Malcolm of the Chicago camp, he put a video up today, of the dream that he had of these apparitions. OK, basically like these basically it's paranormal demonic activity that is going to be manifested here during the time of Jacob's trouble. The things that you see in monster movies are actually going to take place here in reality. OK, and these different creatures are going to the Lord is going to expose them, and he's going to let them loose amongst the population. OK, to do damage. All right. And that's that sudden destruction. OK, all these things are about to happen. All right, let's get one more. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We cannot be ignorant. OK, we got to stay on our watch and understand that something like this is a carrot dangling in front of the horse. OK, people are gonna jump behind Donald Trump to do this. OK, but you got to wonder, what is going to be the cost? What is that? Nothing is free. All right. Nothing is free. So what is going to be the cost of following this man down into this path? All right.
And then he realized, wait a second, this is actually fake. This is illegal. And he started researching it at the IRS headquarters, in the IRS's own library, and found that there is no law that states Americans have to pay income tax.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching this truth according to the Bible. Shalom and Abad Babal.